Three men have appeared in court on slavery charges after the discovery of a cannabis factory at a disused nuclear bunker in Wiltshire. A police raid found plants worth around £1 million. Andrew Plant reports.
Police raided the bunker on Wednesday night, acting, they said, on a tip-off. Inside they found 20 large rooms kitted out with equipment to help grow cannabis and places for people to sleep. Today in court, three men appeared charged with conspiracy to grow cannabis. 30-year-old Ross Winter from Bristol, 45-year-old Martin Fillery from Bridgwater and 27-year-old Plamen Nguyen, also from Bristol. The three men are also charged with conspiracy to keep a person in slavery or servitude and conspiracy to steal electricity. The nuclear bunker in the Wiltshire countryside was built in the 1980s to house government officials in the event of a nuclear attack. It's no longer owned by the Ministry of Defence. Police said the cannabis inside had a street value of around £1 million. None of the three men made any application for bail and all were remanded into custody. They'll next appear at Salisbury Crown Court on the 26th of March. Andrew Plant, BBC Points West in Swindon.
Appropriately, the force has apologised. 6 people have been arrested after a raid on an underground bunker in Wiltshire uncovered the country's biggest cannabis factory. Thousands of plants were discovered in the former MOD nuclear site at Chilmark. Police say almost all 20 rooms had been converted to grow the drug, which has a street value of more than £1 million. 3 of the men arrested have also been charged with human trafficking offences.
Good afternoon. 6 men have been arrested after police raided a cannabis factory hidden in a former Ministry of Defence nuclear bunker in Wiltshire. Officers say the crop, which is being grown in 20 different rooms underground in Chilmark, is worth more than £1 million. 3 of the men, who are from Somerset, are also being questioned on suspicion of human trafficking.
ITV News in the West Country.
Hello and welcome to Thursday's programme. I'm John T. Messer.
And I'm Kylie Pentelow. Coming up tonight between now and 6:30. A police raid uncovers £1 million worth of cannabis hidden in a nuclear bunker. We're live from the scene.
Good evening. 6 people have been arrested after an enormous cannabis factory was discovered in a nuclear bunker.
Police carried out a midnight raid in Chilmark in Wiltshire. Inside were thousands of plants in what the police say is the largest and most sophisticated factory they've ever seen.
Well, our reporter Karen Bell is there for us live this evening. Karen, this is a huge find for the police, isn't it?
It's a major coup for them, John T, and actually where they'd least expect it. You wouldn't normally associate rural Wiltshire with major criminal enterprise, but that's what's been going on here, and in fact seems to be still going on. We've just seen someone being led into a police car wearing handcuffs. Now, down this lane here is the supposedly deserted nuclear bunker where people have actually been living and growing the cannabis, and earlier I took a tour of it. Well, here we are in what's less of a cannabis farm and more of a full-on cannabis factory. Just look at the industrial scale of what's going on. This is the drying room. Here's all the cannabis strung out, and then up above, look at all these lighting rigs. They've been installed by the growers as well, and they've even, just come around here and look at this, they've even installed all their own plug sockets. Now, there are 20 rooms here deep in this deserted nuclear bunker, and they're full of plants that are growing, and the atmosphere is hot and humid. It's really quite unpleasant. Let me bring in 2 of the police officers from Wiltshire Police involved in this. Now, Paul, in your long career with the police, how does this compare with other cannabis farms that you've come across?
I think this is by far the biggest cannabis factory I've come across in my 25 years of working as a police officer.
You must be pretty shocked.
Yeah, I am shocked at the sheer scale of it and the actual commercial scale of it and the professional setup with all the power, the lighting. It certainly would generate huge amounts of money for the criminality involved behind it.
How much roughly, or all the cannabis in this building?
All the cannabis here, a conservative estimate I've been given is around £1 million
£1 million. And let me bring in Simon. Simon, a bit of old school policing last night, wasn't it? How did you go about getting into this bunker?
There was only one way about us getting in, really. We had to use the keys, and we had to make sure that we got the keys off of the criminals. So we waited outside, we waited till they were ready to leave.
In the dark? In
the dark, and that's when we pounced. And we got lucky, they had the keys on them, and we were able to come in.
And when you came in, who else did you find here?
We came in through the door, and we found 3 other people who were inside the bunker, locked inside the bunker. We believe now that they had no choice but to be inside the bunker, and we obviously detained them, and they're sort of part of our investigation now as well.
Gosh, right. So it's not just charges for cannabis, it's charges for human trafficking as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the 3 people that we arrested outside of the gates, they've been arrested on suspicion of being involved in human trafficking too.
Gosh, so there we are, £1 million worth of cannabis, which is not going to be on the streets of Wiltshire, and a massive coup for Wiltshire Police here.
That was Karen Bell with that report there. Next tonight, the detective.
And an underground bunker built in the 1980s to shelter from a nuclear attack has been housing a cannabis farm. 6 people were arrested following a raid on the bunker in Chilmark, Wiltshire, and £1 million worth of cannabis was seized. Now, the boss of Peugeot has told ITV News his company will...
Harriet Bradshaw, BBC Points West, Taunton.
3 men have been charged with drug and slavery offences after the discovery of the country's biggest cannabis factory in Wiltshire. Thousands of plants were found at the former Chilmark nuclear bunker. The men, who are from Bristol and Somerset, have been remanded in custody to appear at Swindon Magistrates Court tomorrow. 3 others, also arrested at the site, have been released without charge.
A Bristol man has won a
3 men have been charged after an enormous cannabis factory was discovered in a nuclear bunker in Wiltshire. 45-year-old Martin Fillery, Palmer Nguyen, who's 27, and 30-year-old Ross Winter have all been charged with conspiracy to produce a quantity of cannabis. All 3 have been remanded in custody and will appear in court tomorrow. 3 other men have been released without charge.
We suspect. Beginning to end.